You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.
We've all entered this world on equal footing to the degree of existence. How long that existence lasts, the things that we do, the lives that we live, the ways that we move, all different. But if you came into the physical opportunity of being born and being born and brought into a society, there's opportunity to mold and create whomever you decide to be. That's the one thing that's pretty awesome about our ability as human beings, that we can devise our own steps, our own interactions, our own experiences. And because of that, we all kind of pattern our own form of direction of things that attract to us, and things that we may become magnetic to or have desires to experience. But ultimately, once we get to a point of understanding of who we are, we start really focusing in on what it is that we want to do, what impact we want to make. And so after many days and weeks and years and months, you start to navigate towards things that are of interest to you, right? And you get to a point where you make a decision and say, okay, this is this thing, or these things I enjoy doing, I like doing, and I have a desire to keep pursuing it. And it leads you to start specifically mastering your craft, right? And it could be more than one thing. I'm not saying that you're isolated to one thing, but it's cool that once we lock in, we start to understand that we're connecting to something that ignites us or makes us feel, compelled to do something or to learn it. And mastering things takes time. There's really no shortcuts. Even if you think there isn't. Hours of labor, hours of time, hours of study, hours of application have to happen. And ultimately, most times, if you're diving into something and giving it that much attention and that much emotion and that much of your concentration, then you ultimately do become a master of your craft. And that's something that is just absolutely significant for your life. And it is not just for your usage, though. That's what I think a lot of times people don't necessarily keep in the fold. It's for you to master, and then for you to give, to output it, to share it. And it's for others, one, hopefully they'll recognize it, they'll learn to respect it, appreciate it, and hopefully they get something out of it. So then that translates to, I think, that common word we know as purpose. Y'all know what time it is, y'all. It's Monday, and it's time for Sonny's Monday Motivation. Let's go. Welcome to LouddMouth Radio Network. My name is Sonny. As a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur realtor and the producer of LouddMouth Radio Network, I look forward to bringing content to you that empowers, inspires, and entertains you. Tune in each week as we have unscripted and unfiltered talks from entrepreneurship, real estate, politics, entertainment, comedy, LGBTQ topics, day-to-day life, and everything in between. All shows available on demand 24/7 on your favorite podcast platforms.
Portals Entertainment Center is a new 13,000 square foot entertainment experience now open in Temecula. Portals creates a space where your imagination can be set free. Step into an immersive entertainment center that will take visitors into one of our many attractions, which include 2 9-hole indoor mini golf courses, an immersive laser tag arena, a designated arcade space, a food service component, party and event spaces, and a hidden 21 and over lounge. Portals aims to give each visitor a unique experience, taking them to unknown worlds and experiencing an entertainment center like no other. Open 7 days a week, located at 26469 Inez Road in Temecula, California, in between At Home and Temecula Theaters. Come check us out and step into adventure.
Sonny's LouddMouth Comedy presents A Night of Love, Friendship, and Laughter, Friday, February 14, 2025. Guys, we are coming back with a fantastic show. Mr. Handsome featured comedian Mr. Drew Edwards, as well as the IE's queen, Nikki Simone. You know this is going to be hosted by no other than Kevin Davis, the Marina Comedy. And yours truly, produced by Sonny, the LouddMouth of Comedy. This is going to be a fantastic date night. Whether you're coming as a single, friends, or coupled up, you will not be disappointed. Get your tickets, LouddMouthComedy.com, LOUDDMOUTH comedy.com. Tickets in advance, $25, $35 at the door. And we do have reserved seating, which I highly suggest. So don't play around, man. Get with your friends, get with your folks, get your tickets. Don't play. I look forward to seeing you guys. And it's going to be going down at Shooter's Bar and Grill, Temecula, 28950 Old Town Front Street. Get your tickets, y'all. See y'all then. I love comedy. All right, y'all, let's get right to it, man. It's Monday. We are climbing hardcore into 2025. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a very interesting few weeks. Already, I'm looking at, dang, we're already 20-some days into this month, into the year. January is making an exit, and we still got so much that is happening as we speak. And for me, like, I've had a significant amount of uptick of things because, one, I'm working on my own projects. I have the show coming up February 14th for Valentine's Day. I got the festival coming up April 1st through the 6th of this year for the comedy festival. And then I also have some client work that I'm doing. And somewhere in between there is time for whatever else you try to designate, right? So for me, I've recognized how important it is to be able to leverage off of something that you have had enough time, effort, space, and concentration, and it hones and develops to skills that you constantly are implementing. You know, so for me, even with my radio show, I have gotten to a point where I have my format. I know, it's funny because even without me looking at my time code on my mixer, I know when I'm getting to the point of when I need to wrap my conversation, even on my intro, right? The body of the context of what I'm talking about, I pretty much have gotten to a point where I know that within a 14 to 20 minute range is where I'm averaging at. And then I just pull it all the way in because honestly, for you to listen to what I got to say, I know that it has to be enough for you to have some bearings. It has to give you some value. It has to give you some essence of understanding and also connect to something that would be significant enough for you to want to continue to listen to it, right? And that's only fair because your attention is important. And for me to get your attention, I know that is equally a gift, right? And in this moment, you're taking the time to listen to what I got to say. So equally as such, I think it gives even better notion for me to respect and to take the time to make sure that whatever I am going to dive into, that it has some worthiness, that it has value, that it has some substance, and that it's not a bunch of gibberish, right? Because our brains themselves log a lot of noise, right? Because we just naturally have things going on around us. That's not counting what's going on in your own brain, right? So when people are interacting with one another, and whether it's in a social setting, a personal setting, a business setting, and you're actually engaging in something with that person, they're honestly honoring you and you're honoring them of their time and attention, right? So because of that, I know how important it is that if I wanted to take your time and have you listen to me or watch something that I'm doing or to read something that I've typed, then it has to have enough value aspect to it or interest to even intrigue you. So I think what's amazing, we get up every day and we do things that we normally would not, necessarily think hard about, like how I'm telling you all this complexity of breakdown of things. We don't think about that on the average of how we're doing certain things. We're just putting our focus into it. That same thing happens with our lives as far as our career choices and the things that we're doing, whether they're passions, hobbies, requirements of your life as a role player. You know, you could be a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a friend, whatever role you're playing in people's lives. There's certain levels in which you occupy in their framework of you. And so I think it's important that if we got all of these aspects of things that people are processing, right, then if we're giving our time and attention to someone, especially in business or even in levels of responsibility, it could also be your job, then we should also equally know to respect that person's time and their ability to produce or provide whatever it is that you're doing. Because it has such a significant factor. It hones a level of expertise that you're saying that you have garnered, that you have put your sweat equity, that you have put your time, your finances, your skills. You know, you've been working and honing it to a point where you're able to say, I've mastered this. And because I've mastered this, I can now produce it and give it to you in a way and fashion in which you could now utilize it. Right? So when I think about it, I have spent a ton of hours producing radio content. I don't know if y'all realize this, but I'm going to share it right now. This week marks 12 years of LouddMouth Radio. And the LouddMouth Radio Network as an entire platform, 12 years of show content. That's a lot of conversation. That's a lot of meetings. That's a lot of production. That's a lot of recording. There's a lot of notes and things that have been processed in order to create the catalog of content that is now available for listeners to listen to 24/7. And I don't think sometimes when we're doing what we're doing that we really recognize how much time we're giving. But guess what? If you get sick, somebody you know passes, or dies, or something happens that cuts them short, that's when a lot of times we'll have an earmark moment where we'll be like, man, they were only 35. Man, they were only 55. Man, they were only 75. Man, they were. So when you have had the ability to do something that has elevated to a point to where you could look back at it and there's a duration of time, you may say, well, Sonny, I haven't done this and done that. If you've been a parent, look at your kid. You remember that baby being born. You remember the kid going through toddler time period, school, middle school, high school, college, if they pursued higher education, adulthood. Then they become parents themselves. Now they've created and made you a grandparent. That is time, right? Even in parenthood, there's certain things that you mastered that you just got down, and there's things that you are still learning or still making adjustments to. But for the most part, you got it down. So then when you become a grandparent, it's easier because you're like, being a parent was harder. Being a grandparent, I'm like, woo. It's just a different aspect now. It gives a different element, right? It does not give the same it just does not give the same essence, right? And I think that once you have so many elements of your life happening, it can make you feel like, wow, I've done all of these things, and and this is the best part about it. When you can really discover that you've been mastering the substance of yourself in some areas, it is actually a very rewarding moment. It can give another level. It can actually give you almost a second win Because sometimes, as humans, we experience burnout. It's a thing that can happen very easily. And burnout sometimes can also pose as a thing where you may feel like, oh, maybe I've done this and it's ran its course. Sometimes you're doing things and you've been so deeply invested into it and you've been doing it repetitively and things of that nature to a point where you might feel like, man, I don't want to do this anymore, or I need to pull back. And it could just be burnout. It could just be the aspect of your repetitive interaction with it that's left you feeling like, wait a minute, not that you lost love of it, that you've lost the regard for it. But sometimes you can have this roller coaster of aspects that make you feel like, man, I need to do something differently, and it'll give you that whole feeling of, man, I've put in all this time, I've done all of these things, and where am I going? What's my next? And so you may find yourself transforming in this point of, like, it's almost like a life walk of evolution that's happening. What's cool about it is that the better you become at doing the things that you've been doing, they become sometimes less taxing on you, because it doesn't put as much emphasis in struggle on your brain. It doesn't make your brain stretch as hard, right? We brush our teeth. We don't think about it, like physically what it takes to stroke your teeth and work your wrists and to angle the toothbrush, to put the toothpaste on it, and to hit all of the areas in your mouth to make your toothbrush touch all those. You don't really think about that, right? But you've done it so much, you've mastered what you do with it, right? Making your bed, right? Tying your shoes, putting on your coat, driving your car. So, guys, when I tell you, I think it's important that you recognize your own values of how you've been able to develop yourself. And in that development, it will give you an aspect of a better appreciation and respect for your time, your own attention, and how you move. It'll also give essence to how you allow others to interact with you and what it may require of you going forward in your life. I think there's something amazing that happens over time, that as you are aging and we're experiencing different things, you start to notice how certain things about you don't feel the same. It's a natural I think it's a natural progression to kind of fold certain things away, right? And when you've had a long opportunity of exercising those things that you have become now masters in, it can give you another aspect of how the next part of your life looks. And if you haven't gotten to this point, it just could be that you're maybe you have not found yourself working within a purpose that gives you that kind of body of work, right? But the good thing is that you can pivot. You can pivot in any direction that you need to. And what's cool is that sometimes you may get to a point where you've been the labor worker in it, and you've gotten to the point of understanding it enough to where you want to now become the manager of it. And so you may not be the worker bee within it all the time, but now you're mentoring or educating others how to do the processes that you've done for such a long period of time, right? I like the factor that as people, we just have freedom of choice, and those choices compute to how we develop, and that development itself is your own measurement, right? You don't necessarily need anyone else's optics when it comes to that, because you can see for yourself where you are. And but let me say this now: if you struggle in that, because it's a possibility, I'm gonna retract that statement. It's a possibility that maybe you're so deep into your own web that you can't really see how certain things are, but you can feel it and you can sense that maybe there's something in a turn of direction that you want to do and you maybe don't know how to get there. So times like those, it's not a bad thing to actually find mentors or accountability partners or someone that can measurably be honest with you, and you're honest with them, most importantly, and you give them the opportunity to know, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is where I am, and I feel like I want to grow more in this space, or I feel like I want to shave certain things back, and you ask them and you welcome them to your observation deck, right? When you do that, that's actually some growth happening too, believe it or not, because it's giving you another dimension of reverence that you feel for yourself, that you feel like I want to have more development in certain areas. And so because I know how I move all the time, I may need another eye to be able to look on the outside of my own biasness of myself, because you can have biases of yourself. If you don't think so, just keep doing what you're doing. I actually have really been blessed to have had a walk with so many different types of people in the world, and I value that. I think that it's important that you don't always deal with people that look just like you, or move like you, or think like you, or act like you. I think I would get bored with that. I don't always want to be the smartest person in the room. I don't want to always be the one that's pushing the envelope. I don't want to always be the one that's starting and stopping the conversation. I think it's important to be able to open up and appeal to more things. That's if you desire to. Now, if you're more of a hermit and you just don't have a need for human contact, and that is not in the realm of your desire, then this conversation isn't for you. But for the most part, I think that society as a whole, I know that there's a lot of things that are changing, and I've come to see there's so many more people that are taking initiative to get out of their comfort zones and get out of the norms. Maybe they're leaving their childhood homes or cities or states and even countries. There are people that we're more than ever are working remotely and things of that nature. And because of that, it may put you in other spaces with other people. And then that has to make you have to reconform again to adjust to your new surroundings, right? So I know it's funny. I titled this, Mastering Your Craft. And it wasn't really a conversation as far as steps to, right? It's more about recognizing, more like maintaining a pulse of your essence and how you're conducting yourself within life steps, right? Because when you have mastered your craft, you by all means, you have devoted so much time and essence in that space. I just think that it's very easy to sometimes not recognize how you are within yourself in that space and what that looks like. And when you do take those times to recognize your length of time of durability, accomplishments, and things that you've have leveled up to, it kind of gives you another aspect of appreciation of your own existence, and that energy, that structural stance of understanding that is something that's even just as important for you to remember when you're communicating or interacting with other people. Word. So I'm gonna wrap this because I think that for the most part, we're dealing with a lot of changes of societal technology, and it's easy to almost forget what you're able to do when there's so many things changing so quickly around you. Not to say that you don't have adjustments, you do, but sometimes you have to remember the essence of who you are to be able to stand still enough to gather yourself and remember your ability, and remember your own desires, and to remember what you've done, what you've accomplished enough to where it can give you the next level of where your life can go. Okay, so Y'all, this has been dope. I just hope we appreciate you guys. I pray that you're safe. There's been a tormentive amount of conversations in regards to our political scenes, and so there's a lot of things that's going on, and I just want to encourage you to just really, really work on trying to quiet the noise, and you welcome what you desire to have into your space, and not just be bullied into into areas in which you may not desire to be. All right, appreciate y'all. Peace.
The Breeze Effect is your premier destination for professional in-home wine tastings and mobile wine bar services. Our customized mobile trailer is designed to bring a touch of elegance and sophistication to any event. At Breeze Effect, we believe that every celebration deserves an intimate and unique experience that you and your guests will remember for a lifetime.
Here at Wonderland Learning Center, we're located at 288 East Main Street in San Jacinto. We provide a safe and secure learning environment. We are now enrolling 2 to 5-year-olds with our preschool curriculum. We offer before and after school care. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks are provided. We accept all programs. We are open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Our website is wonderlandlearningcenter.com.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.
Performing comedy is like creating magic. To hear the room explode with laughter is priceless. And to produce comedy is like having a glass of Stella Rosa, the ability to have others wind down with laughter. With LouddMouth Comedy, it isn't just about me, Sonny. It's also the many hardworking comedians that are dedicated to writing and performing night after night, stage after stage, displaying their talents to the world. And we all do it for the love of comedy. Sometimes you have to remember to relax and savor the moment one sip at a time. Cheers. Here's to 13 years of LouddMouth Comedy. Save the date, April 1st through the 6th, 2025. Save the date, April 1st through the 6th, 2025. Sonny's LouddMouth Comedy presents For the Love of Comedy Spring Comedy Festival is happening right in the Temecula Valley area. We're talking about 6 days, over 10 plus shows, over 30 plus comedians. Woo, I need you to be prepared and be ready. So guess what? I need you to bookmark this website, LouddMouthComedyFestival.com. This is with a comedy lineup, all the announcements, schedule, all the great things that's going on, from networking events, cocktail kickoff, multiple comedy shows. Even we'll have something for the family. I cannot wait for you guys to participate. So I need you to make sure you mark the dates, April 1st through the 6th. Hold the website, LouddMouthComedyFestival.com. And be prepared. More announcements coming soon. All right, y'all. Ciao.
Hello, my name is Takasha Smith. I'm the owner of Takasha's Kitchen, based out of Menifee in the Southern California area. As a chef and caterer, I provide private cooking classes, couples dinners, and private parties. As a female pitmaster, I am able to create a personalized experience for your family reunion gatherings. I create menus based on my clients' needs to have a more personal vibe. You can find Takasha's Kitchen on all social media networks such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my YouTube channel at Takasha's Kitchen. And that's spelled TACASHAS Kitchen, KITCHEN.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.